Jeffrey Epstein's close associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm worried for my family finding me talking about toddlers and tiaras in 2013 and thinking you're some sort of operative. Internet users began to connect Teigen with Epstein and Maxwell after unsubstantiated claims suggested her name was listed on a flight log for Epstein's private plane. Crissy isn't the only celeb to be dragged into this conspiracy theory. Users have accused Tom Hanks of taking Epstein's jet to his island in the Caribbean, but according to Reuters, there is no truth to the claims. Reuters' team of fact-checkers could not find Hanks' name or initials in the documents. On July the 8th, a Twitter user commented on Teigen's post writing, "You're on the flight log," prompting Crissy to reply with, "If we want to play with your lie just for fun, do you understand that if I were on the flight for the date of this manifest, I'd be a victim?" Crissy called out her accusers for wasting time on believing the theory and stating, "These people are so sick and actually stupid, but mostly sick and mostly stupid. I can't bother to care anymore." In 2018, Crissy and her husband, John Legend, threatened a lawsuit against an individual who accused the pair of involving their daughter Luna in a now debunked child sex trafficking ring known as Pizzagate.
So that was E! News, and I wanted to show you sort of an idea of how the mainstream is handling this. And it's not just to defend her. This is how they handle anything that's sort of conspiracy, quote unquote. They keep everything very normy, very soothing, I guess, to the general idea of how this world works. They will never just show you factually like what the tweets were and what just lay everything out, let people decide for themselves what's going on here. And so even YouTube, when you look it up on YouTube, Crissy Teigen tweets, type that in, you can scroll for a good 5 minutes or so before finding a sort of independent journalist or, person like me that's just laying it out there. So everyone seems, all these platforms is what I'm saying, they seem to be working in her favor, and I know she's lawyered up on this. I know she's even threatened Twitter that if they don't do something about all these people harassing her, that she will leave. She will leave Twitter. So this really bothers me with celebrities and how, freedom of speech is not a big deal at all to them. They only want to hear these leftists. They only want to be allowed, for people to be allowed to say the things that they agree with. Like, if you can tweet really disgusting stuff like this, people can talk about it. That's how this goes, so, and I'll show the tweets, but I'll get to that. Just bear with me. I just wanted to take a look at her family. They are gorgeous. They are beautiful, just a beautiful family. Her little kids, she has a boy and a girl. It's just, the dream family. And then John Legend, he's just gorgeous. I mean, come on. But yeah, these, I guess I say all that because it's like this perception I sort of have that I'm like, no. I don't even know what else to think. Is it because they're so beautiful? Like, why do I think there's no way? This is the culture in Hollywood. Okay, so these are all the comments under that E! News video. I couldn't find one comment, not even one comment that, leaned in their favor, leaned in Crissy, that was defending her. So I thought that was interesting. They had more downvotes than, upvotes. And yeah, so this is, the public is, I don't know, they're no longer under the control of Hollywood. I guess they're no longer under the spell to a certain extent. There's a lot of mainstream people out there, that are sitting there watching their TV and, keeping up with the news and all of this. But a lot of people, I think this is pretty telling, that a lot of people are starting to think for themselves, and even if it's sort of wacky sometimes, and even if it's sort of like ridiculous the way people are thinking, kudos just for, doing something different, I guess. So, yeah, the one thing I want to talk about with these tweets and with like this sort of dark humor, this pedophilic, pedophile, I don't even know. This humor, I don't get it. Okay, so the first time, I think it was James Gunn, the first celebrity, who started tweeting out and people started digging up all these pedophile jokes and stuff. I was like, no way, he's a pedophile. That's all there is to it. There's no other way to explain this. Why would you joke like this? There's no other way to explain it. And so now I've sort of shifted a little bit because I've always been like, okay, well, with comedy, you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want, and people don't have to like it or think it's funny or agree with it, but that's how comedy works because not everybody will think certain things are funny, right? So with this, I think it's like the culture. I think normal people like us, we can't comprehend these sorts of jokes because we don't have a culture of pedophiles surrounding us. We don't have a culture of people, wanting to date and be with and, do things with very, very young girls or, even worse. You know what I'm saying? So I think to them, it's sort of laughable. It's sort of like, I don't know, for it to be funny. That's the thing. With humor, it's so outrageous. You have to know there's no way it could be true. And that's why it's funny. So that's where I have a hard time with, like, labeling her a pedophile. Now, with all of that being said, this Toddlers and Tiaras tweet, this is the only one she's acknowledged. Seeing little girls do the splits half naked, I want to put myself in jail. Ha ha ha. Like, I can see that as a joke. Like, it's wrong. It's more like saying, this is wrong that they're showing this on TV. That's how I take it. That's how I take the joke where she said, where can I go watch teenagers giving birth? I'll try MTV. Doesn't make sense, but you know what I'm saying? That seems like more of a joke in the sort of way, like, it's crazy that this stuff is being shown on TV. Okay? So the problem here is, what I find suspicious is, this is the only one she's acknowledging, and she's claiming that before that she was hacked. Okay? And Twitter is agreeing with her that this is, their system was hacked, and just so bizarre, right? That someone would hack you and for years tell similar jokes to your style and personality. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but okay, sounds like a lie. So the tweets I mainly have an issue with are these right here. And, oh man, where to even begin? Let's start at the bottom. I now know what parents go through when they are forced to tie their kids up in the basement. You have to do it, but it's icky, am I right? So this, I can't even begin to comprehend what's going on here. Like, is it an inside joke? Are you referencing something? It's like, are you talking about holding your kids down maybe to change their diaper and it feels like you had to tie them down? Because all parents know this. All parents who have changed the diaper of a toddler knows you basically have to, like, hog time. So, I don't know. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. If this is a just weird, twisted, dark joke. Like, in the basement? What does that even mean? You have to do it? Why do you have to do it? None of it makes sense. Okay, let's move on. I'm about to Anthony Weiner this kid. June 12th, 2011. Okay. If you run in these circles, like I've said, it's the culture with Hollywood. There's a sickness there where people molest children. People just prey on underage children or girls and boys, if nothing else. But you have to know that Anthony Weiner is doing this sort of thing to even make that joke, regardless of what you meant by that or why you would make that joke. Anthony Weiner wasn't even arrested until 2017. This picture I will flash because it is horrendous and I don't want to spend any time on that. You can go back and look at it. But that is very, very troublesome. Now, this guy, Troy Robertson, I guess he was on Survivor. I think this is who she's talking about. And I don't know. I'm not going to dig too deep into this and see if he actually has this tattoo. But she tweeted it. And I'm assuming, well, they're saying that it was a baby holding a thumb. But to me, it looks like the artist didn't just do a shitty job. It seems like it's sort of meant to be both. To be able to be seen both ways. You know, I could be wrong, but that's what it seems like. I don't see how anybody would get a tattoo like that and be like, oh, this looks great. I love it. You know, okay. I want to move on from that. You can go back and look at it if you want to. She did say she dedicates it in the joy it brings him. That's weird wording to me. It's like it's another joke that we don't get. These all seem like inside jokes that we just don't get, okay? So whether that means she is running in these circles or she is one herself or she just has a weird, twisted sense of humor, I don't know. And for the record, I will say that you know, there are a lot of things that could be untrue. That, you know, people go out and investigate things on their own and then they just start passing around like the flight log with Jeffrey Epstein. And they're on it and a lot of other people are on it. Apparently, that was doctored. And that they're not even really on the actual flight logs. So we're living in a sea of misinformation, you know, where the mainstream media and independent journalists sometimes are given either outright lies, you know, skewed information, one-sided, one narrative, or they're just doing shitty journalism. And so you end up having to verify a lot of this yourself. Otherwise, you can't really have an opinion. So I don't like this whole cancel culture. I don't like that we can pull up people's pasts like this and judge them and cancel them and do all of these things. And Hollywood is the most hypocritical, so I guess it's sort of coming back on them. But to that, I would say, you know, to people like Crissy, who this is happening to, just explain yourself. That's all. Explain yourself. You know, say maybe I had a really dark sense of humor. I realize why that, you know, this sort of thing isn't funny now. I would never joke like that now. But, you know, she's talked about eating human flesh and whatnot. This is very frustrating. People cannot defend you. And this is the same with, like, the all one eye, hand over the eye and all the symbolism. Every time they're asked about these things, they just, you know, brush it off like, oh, conspiracy. They never explain themselves. Explain yourself. You can explain yourself like you don't mind doing when it's a reference to, you know, black jokes or homophobic, quote-unquote, jokes. If you can explain yourself, maybe we can try to understand. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Do not form your own opinions until you have verified what the facts actually are. Oh, and by the way, looking at her Instagram, the amount of processed carbs this woman eats, sub sandwiches, big pasta dishes, I call bullshit, Crissy. Either, you know, you're just eating this once a week or so, and then you're showing it when you do as if it's every day, or that's all she's eating. I don't know. I mean, I just think celebrities lie about a lot. They give this false perception to the world. Speaking of carbs, we just cut our first watermelon, and oh boy, they're pretty good. With seeds. Can you say watermelon, Oliver? Y'all have a blessed day.
Wait!